Welcome back to Read With Me, the author's cut. Tonight we are stepping into chapter 4, a chapter that starts quietly and then completely unravels. This is the chapter where attraction turns dangerous, where philosophy turns personal, and when the question of purpose stops being academic and starts clawing its way into the body. We meet old wounds, new enemies, and a man who has never forgotten, even if he forgot her first. And while the world outside seems peaceful, festive even, inside Gabrielle, there is something very, very wrong. So get comfortable, turn the lights low, grab that drink, because this chapter asks one very terrifying question. What happens when an immortal begins to doubt her soul? Let's begin. So, happy holidays, everyone. And yes, I do have a beautiful cup of red wine yet again. I also have a little bit of extra that we can try from Trader Joe's. A little sip for good luck. Let's see how chapter 4 goes. I put on my AirPod Pros as I exit the Eden building and blast my favorite music. It seems to be a bit of a dreary day now. The clouds beginning to cover the early morning sun and the scent of rain hangs in the air. As I start walking, I spot a crinkle in my skirt. Pausing for a moment to flatten it out, I hear my mother's voice in my head. Darling, be sure to smooth out all the wrinkles. You want to look perfectly polished. You don't want to stand out for the wrong reasons. Stopping in front of the building's window, I stare into the reflection, spotting minor but obvious errors in my attire. I wonder if my mother had seen these flaws. Would she have shaken her head disapprovingly? Taking a deep, heavy inhale, I already knew why I can read, I can talk. I can read and I can talk. Taking a deep, heavy inhale, I already knew my answer. The woman who raised me constantly picked and tailored what I wore and how I acted in any setting. I know she loves me, but make sure it's done properly. Sit up straight. Make sure your attire flatters you. How you present yourself is how others see our family. To stop the negative spiral of my mother's judgmental voice inside my head, I began to correct all the clear shortcomings to show a perfected Vadala air. I pull down my dark blue uniform skirt to correct the length and smooth it out, as it tends to ride up while I walk. Picking off any lingering lint, I start to adjust my white button up top and dark blue tie, tightening it around my neck and correcting the collar. My fingers intertwine, stretch, correct, and smooth out the now perfected Trinity tie. The dark blue sports jacket has a few hairs on it, so I comb through it again, clearing off any imperfections. Using my hands, I glide along the coat to ensure any creases are flushed out and any fluff has cleared off. With one last look at the reflection in the window, I pat the sports jacket's university symbol, redistribute the weight of my leather satchel on my right shoulder, and continue on with my imperfectly perfect day. On the verge of an all-out downpour, a warm dampness lies heavy on my skin. Lo-fi smooths over the incessant lingering of memories, and it's like I'm in my own music video, thriving and living off the emotions that the music moves me to. Lo-fi is my favorite music, by the way. Only Bloodborns are out and about, which makes it a lot less crowded. It cuts the student population down heavily. Only a few stragglers wander toward their next class. Birds chirp in the early morning, and peace surrounds me. It's quiet in a way that allows me to focus on my breathing and the thoughts that really matter. Daydreaming of a much more transparent and open life, a life where I don't have to lie to everyone around me. But peace is fleeting. Walking down the steps to my first class of the day, my stomach sinks as I set my eyes on World Ender. He's walking up the opposite side of the railing with a group of his friends. 2 other Bloodborns flank him, his brilliance standing out among the company he keeps. Sunshine pours over his features. His eyes are bright and his smile infectious. He moves so easily, so gracefully. Even his uniform perfectly fits his large, toned body. With each shift, I can see his muscles moving through his blue sport jacket. One hand rests in his pocket while the other lifts and glides through his brown and golden hair. The red dim lighting of that night couldn't show how truly handsome he is. Now, staring at him in all his sunny glory, he's devastating. And devastation is walking straight up toward me. I shake the dumbfounded, glitter-eyed schoolgirl smile off my face and prepare myself to say, hi, or should I say, hey, or hello? I really like this part. It's awkward. I'm gonna take a sip. Why am I so nervous? Technically, we've shared a body. Well, not really, but we drank blood together. and then he disappeared. Oh my God. I need to calm down. I'm being ridiculous. My heart is pounding, my mouth starts to salivate, and I can feel my face heating up. Slowly, I proceed step by step toward the group of men, caught in the paradoxical sensation of time moving at lightning speed, yet also in extreme slow motion. I wait for his eyes to meet mine, a faint smile starting to play on my lips, my fingers dangling on the cold metal stair rail, gliding like his fingers gliding up my thigh. I'm also literally eye-fucking this dude in broad daylight, but lucky for me, I haven't been caught yet. My eyes linger lower, past his scruffed jawline, past his muscled neck, down his broad chest, and still lower to explore more of his body. Even the way he shifts up the stairs is predatory, and it's not just me, he has the entire group's attention. Everyone around him is eating out of the palm of his hand. He's a fucking predator that draws you in, and I'm one of the sheep that's ready to lay over and give in to whatever he desires to take from me. He's so close now. Hints of vanilla and citrus fill the air around him. I try to force my heart to calm, but it sings in his presence, only beating faster and louder as he gets closer. Just as he pauses his friendly banter, his eyes shift up toward me. The green and blue glint in his eyes flashes faintly under the sunlight. I'm struck. I beam down at him, giving him a knowing smile as I wait for the recognition, for him to stop and talk to me for a few moments. What I receive back is blank, a knowing, and a plain, pleasant, quick smile. His stare lasts for a mere second, and he's back to talking to his friends. He passes me like I'm just another stranger among the university's student population. Gradually, his presence fades away from behind me. His scent becomes more distant as he continues to ignore my unknown presence. Disappointment, confusion, and embarrassment begin to seep in, but instead, I force those useless emotions down and allow anger to fill me. The clueless ass didn't even recognize me. He didn't even notice me. My dumbass was drilling from the top of the stairs all the way past him looking like a damn idiot. What is wrong with me? What is wrong with him? How could he not have recognized me? Was he that high? Was our meeting that inconsequential? Oh my God. Did anyone else see that? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my. My eyes land on someone I never expected to walk up to me. Who are you just eye-fucking? Fuck. Yeah, I'm gonna take a drink for that too, because I like it. Positive so far. Axel stares at me. My mouth is wide open, but the words don't come out. He continues to look at me, and his smile widens. My entire face is probably beet red. I'm practically caught with my hand down my pants. Yeah, I like that. Let's put the beautiful Gabrielle bookmark in, and let's try a little boozy little bite. So we got London gin, Scotch whiskey, Navy rum, and Prosecco. Finish out the Prosecco. Oh, that's good. He raises his eyebrows, waiting for my answer. When no words come to mind, I just shrug and reply. His smile grows as he tips his chin up and belts out a laugh I haven't heard in years. It's the kind of laugh that pulls you in, deep and loud, with his shoulders jumping at every inhale. Genuine and entirely at my expense, it's impossible not to join in. I laugh at myself as he grabs my shoulder to lean on, doubling over, unrestrained. As the laughter finally fades, leaving my cheeks sore from smiling, silence settles between us. We catch our breath, our eyes meeting as we wait for the other to speak. The weight of unspoken words lingers, and I wrestle with what to say. How do I make all those awful memories vanish? Why is my mind completely blank? Axel scrunches his forehead and clears his throat. Yeah, we say in unison. I'm sure if someone were watching us from afar, they would also be cringing at the awkward looks and many yeahs. Thankfully, Axel saves the conversation. I'm headed to class. It's Philosophy 103 with Blackwell. He states as he jerks his thumb toward the building we stand in front of. I'm heading there as well, I say, playing with the cufflink on my jacket. Now you're in 2 of my classes. I didn't see you the first week. So I messed up there. It's 2 weeks now. God love that. I'm sorry. Really, my apology is lame, but I don't know what else to do. No, don't be. Friday was my first day. I've been away, but just got back, he confirms. Gotcha, well, I pause unsure of what to say next. It's really good to see you. Yeah, it's good to see you too. The soft smile that spreads across his face is just utterly Axel, kind and welcoming. I wanted to... Frustration claws its way in and my eyebrows furrow. I shake my head ever so slightly, searching for the right words to tell him that I was sorry, that if I could take it all back, I would. Before I can speak, he interrupts me with a gentle gesture, draping his arm over my shoulders and leaning in to say, "You know, I really did miss you." Same. I let myself relax into the comfort of his shoulder as he guides us toward our class. The warmth of our moment fades as we step into the small, tiered classroom and take our seats. The atmosphere shifts. The hum of chatter replaced by the sharp authority of the professor's voice cutting through the room. "Everything should be put away and your space should be completely clear," she announces. The transition is stark, pulling us firmly back into the academic world. She paces to the blackboard, chalk in hand, as she continues. "Ladies and gentlemen, the age-old question that has echoed through the halls of philosophy and theology: why would an all-knowing, all-powerful, and benevolent God permit the existence of evil?" Her words hang heavily in the air, the weight of the topic settling over us. She writes the question on the board and turns to face the class. Why does a loving God allow suffering? Dr. Adriana Blackwell is a tenured professor here at the school. She has dark brown hair that is pinned up to perfection, a sliver of silver on each side that stretches up to her French bun. The gray in her hair indicates that she was turned at an older age. However, the bright green glint in her eyes screams pure bloodborne vampire. Her clothing is fitted, professional, and elegant. Her movements are rigid and blunt, just like her voice during her introduction to the class's next topic. She walks around the front of the classroom with her hands held behind her back, glaring at the small crowd. She moves from student to student, and with each set of eyes she meets, she seems to take in who they are and what they are thinking before moving on, leaving each student behind, confused and unnerved. That is a long-ass sentence. I mean, it's broken up, and I think it's correct, but, that is a long-ass sentence. Delicious. Her gaze continues to wander until it lands on me. She starts to move on, but does a double take. We stare at each other for another moment, and surprise nearly crosses her perfectly dignified complexion. She raises an eyebrow, but then she moves on. Then she calls out, "Who contributed to this theodicy?" as she walks back to the blackboard. Further away from our curious interaction, Axel whispers, "That was weird." I quickly shush him to listen in on what will be said next. Augustine of Hippo, Thomas Aquinas, and Gottfried Leibniz. A female student from the back calls out. "What are the arguments?" the professor quickly asks the class. Another female student calls out, "God allows evil to exist because of the gift of free will. Humans can choose to do good or evil, and the existence of evil is a consequence of this free will." A different student announces, "Another theodicy suggests that evil exists to provide a contrast for the goodness of perfection of God. Humans are in a state of moral and spiritual development, and overcoming challenges is a part of this process." Holding her hands behind her back and keeping her chin held high, she responds, "Yes, that's correct." A man from the right of the auditorium then calls out, "John Hick was another who most recently collaborated with this theodicy. He proposed that the purpose of life is soul-making, and the existence of evil provides opportunities." The entire class looks over at this student, and lo and behold, it's fucking World Ender. He continues, "Hick offers a perspective of the existence of evil that resonates with the inherent beauty of human experience. According to this theodicy, life is a transformative journey, an intricate process of soul-making. He suggests that the challenges we face, often manifested as evil in our lives, are not attributed cruelties, but essential opportunities for spiritual growth. In this narrative, the beauty lies in the very fabric of existence, the weaving of virtues through life's trials. Each challenge becomes a crucible, creating qualities such as resilience, empathy, courage, and compassion. The human spirit, shaped by adversity, emerges refined and strengthened, embodying virtues that contribute to the greater good." "Very good, Mr. Malec," the professor states with a tight-lipped smile. Fuck. He's a fucking Malec. A deep history of our family starts to flash in my mind. Tales of war, turmoil, and the termination of my family's elders, my father's parents. Stories of long years of deadly battles come rushing back, etched with the pain of fury reflected in my father's eyes. The betrayals and complete lack of respect for one's kind build within my chest like a knot. His written-out speech of resilience and empathy can shove it. And fuck him. I'm not letting myself go unnoticed by him. Maybe with a little bit of shoving his answer back down his throat, I'll embarrass him in front of the class. If I can't avenge my family, the least I can do is this small task. And so, I blurt out loud, letting some of my anger spill. While the idea of soul-making sounds poetic and uplifting, it lacks a realistic understanding of the depth of human suffering. All eyes turn towards me, including Worldender. Purposefully, I keep my eyes straight towards the professor. I continue with, it's essential to acknowledge that not all adversities lead to positive growth, and some experiences of evil can be so devastating that they defy any attempt at finding true beauty. Ultimately, questioning the assumption that all suffering contributes positively to moral and spiritual growth prompts exploration of the complexities inherent in the human experience. I catch him smirking my way, but I ignore him, hoping that I stuck it to him. Yes, thank you, Miss Vadala, Blackwell greets me. Does every professor know me by name? She clasps her hands, ready to state her next comment. But instead, Worldender interrupts her by questioning out loud and to no one in particular within the classroom. However, where does that leave us? He turns back to face the front of the class, back to ignoring my existence. Prick. The professor answers, exactly, Mr. Malec. You perfectly went into what the class will be discussing in the coming weeks. Where does this leave us? If a human being has a soul, do we? And where does that leave us in the profound attribution that is life? Are we alive? Does the human spirit or soul still live within us? The class sits completely silent. Dr. Blackwell pauses as she looks over the classroom for her theoretical question. The class seems to be encapsulated by her. Undoubtedly, I am. Unlike the prick that continues to show off. She continues, in your experiences, how does suffering manifest within our realm, and how do you see it contributing to moral and spiritual growth? Considering your supernatural nature, do you feel a sense of purpose or destiny in your existence? And how does this theodicy play a role in shaping this purpose? Have you ever thought about that? Leave it down in the comments. I love a good psychology. I'm gonna take a sip of this because I'm proud of myself. She pauses again and walks closer to the first tiered row of students. Red lipstick, answer. A girl struck by cluelessness ums her way through and asks quietly and nervously, what was the question again? Professor Blackwell pinches her nose in frustration, exhaling like a dragon before rephrasing, why do difficult things happen in our world, and does it make you a better vampire? Do you believe your supernatural life has a purpose? And does the reason for bad things happening influence what you think that propose it? The girl still does not answer. Dr. Blackwell rolls her eyes with clear disappointment, but I answer for the girl instead, if only to instigate Worldender once more. Suffering often manifests in intricate and profound ways, intertwined with the very fabric of our immortal existence. While some undoubtedly create growth and resilience, it's important to recognize that not all forms of suffering lead to, but isn't it often the case that suffering ultimately yields positive outcomes? His gaze now shifts towards me as he rudely cuts me off for my full answer. At least I now have his full attention. He continues, doesn't adversity often compel societies to unite, fostering intelligence, tranquility, and fortitude? Many esteemed philosophers, as we've explored so far, have meticulously researched, observed, and written works suggesting that tumultuous periods often create harmony between humanity and nature. It all circles back to soul-making. His gaze lingers on me as he waits for a reply. Just like our forefathers have gone to war, it seems like a war has begun with us as well. Two can play at that game. I pause in thought before speaking the rest of my answer to Blackwell's original question, directing my attention back to the professor as I state, the exploration of theodicy, examining the existence of suffering within a supposedly benevolent world, deeply influences a sense of purpose. This search for understanding amidst chaos compels me to drive into complexities of good and evil, specifically as they relate to our existence as vampires. My stance remains unwavering. We are the architects of our destinies, shaped by our choices, actions, and the trials we endure. Whether these experiences lead to positive outcomes isn't solely dictated by the dichotomy of good and evil. It's a multifaceted interplay of circumstances that challenge conventional ideas of justice and meaning in the world, our world. Looking back at Worldender, I find him smirking once more. Checkmate, buddy. Before he can interrupt with a rebuttal, Professor Blackwell cuts in, halting our war-ridden banter. We will have ample opportunity for more nuanced debates over the course of this semester. Let us defer this discussion for a later time, she asserts. Again, she brings her hand to the bridge of her nose and pinches it, harder this time. This may indeed be an opportune moment to introduce you to my teacher's assistant, Michael Malec. He will be assisting with class discussions and paper grading. He is a junior and has taken many of my classes. Should you have any inquiries pertaining to the course, kindly direct them to him exclusively. Michael Malec. Worldender's name is Michael fucking Malec. Of course. Of course. I nearly let the second-generation bloodborne son from the very family my father warned me to avoid get dangerously close to slipping beneath my panties. Of course. Of course. He stands up and turns to the crowd to bow, not deep, but just enough to show respect. His eyes glint as he stands up, shoulders straight and strong. As he sits back down, his hand grabs hold of the chair in front of him. Some of my anger washes away as the hint of the memory of his fingers tickles my thighs. Just a ghost of a memory, but I rub them all the same to ignore the sensation. Professor Blackwell clears her throat, signaling the end of his introduction. Thank you, Mr. Malec. Now, I'd like to hear from the rest of the class. Let's return to the same student as before. Given the insights we've covered so far, could you revisit the original question for us? The girl fumbles through her words, but comes up with a sufficient answer to get Blackwell off her back. Her meaningless answer isn't worth the attention that Blackwell is currently giving her, and thinking about Michael and his bullheadedness might give me a headache. So I begin to tune them out and concentrate on the question myself. Suffering? Let's just eat some boozy chocolate because they're going to be at this for a little bit. Let's do London Gym. Not a fan. Maybe they just did a quick donut and left. Suffering in an immortal body. Is it even moral? I endure pain, but should I? If so, what does it mean? What is my purpose beyond just drinking blood and existing in a perfect world of fleeting highs? Damn, she's got me stumped too. I gotta lick my finger. I watch as Dr. Blackwell moves gracefully, yet sternly, questioning students around the room. Unintentionally, I find myself staring into the back of Michael's head. He continues to play with his pencil, twirling it and then poking his lips like he's deep in thought. Or is that annoyance and impatience? Could it be boredom? I can't get a read on this dude. Dr. Blackwell instructs the class to discuss amongst ourselves to come up with an answer to her question. What is our purpose? Grouping us within our designated areas, Axel and I are placed with a bloodborne vampire to his right. She's from the Kurosawa family, with a beautiful, kind face and short, dark hair. She must be one of the two sisters, third generation just as I am. The sisters are known as the Kurosawa dolls, beautiful gifts to the family line. Her upturned doll eyes are a bright green with a delicately shaped nose. Her fluorescent pale skin shines brightly against her soft blush red lips, flawless like porcelain. When we go around the group of three to introduce ourselves, she presents herself as Ebony, but asks us to call her Eb. She smiles in such a perfect manner, not a wrinkle or crease on her face, not even from her smile. Doll-like for sure. After we exchange introductions, Axel asks if he can go first. Our purpose is punishment. Finding his words a bit harsh, both Eb and I look at each other and scrunch our noses in disapproval. Hold on, just give me a second to explain. Most vampires within our society are Catholic, right? Our society is built on the belief that we too come from God. Our ancestors, the spearheads of each of the families, are Catholic. We both hesitantly nod our heads, but give him the respect of explaining further. Understanding this, we need to look at vampirism in terms of God, humanity, and morality. Immortality often presents as a double-edged sword, becomes a focal point, inviting thought on the idea of endless existence. Immortal beings such as vampires, he waves at all the beings within the classroom, find themselves grappling with the timelessness of existence, leading to inner thoughts of the importance of relationships, personal growth, he looks at me, and the pursuit of meaning in a world where time loses its constraints. The consequences of living outside conventional boundaries are complex. They include the loneliness from seeing countless generations come and go, feeling disconnected from how people change over time, and the heavy load of memories built over centuries. He lounges back in his chair and crosses his feet over one another. I mean, we aren't even talking about the morality of it all. The blood, the death, the emotionless pit that we sometimes find ourselves in as we sink our fangs into bliss. He inhales deeply, as if saying it all lifted something off his chest. We both respectfully wait for him to finish his thought. It's all a punishment for what someone did in our past. Maybe the heads of our families. Maybe someone angered God, and this is our punishment. Eb stares at Axel and then looks to me. Is he always this intense? We both giggle and Axel slowly joins in, but he holds back. There's something sad in his eyes, knowing but sad. The mood shifts as Ebony asks to go next. Launching into an argument, the profound purpose of vampirism lies in sensuality and primal instincts. Axel remains quiet, keeping his secrets close. Though the sadness lingers in his gaze, as Eb continues to speak, Axel's smile gradually returns, and the sorrow fades, replaced by something lighter. Soon, I find myself lost in thought, not ready to give an answer yet, and not fully related to Eb's idea of a primitive purpose. Why do we exist? What is the purpose of this all? What does a soul mean for the vampire kind? A headache starts to creep up from the base of my skull. It's so faint, but I know it's about to come full force as I continue my incessant rant of questions. But I can't stop the thoughts. Is there a deeper meaning to it all? The more I question, the more uncertain everything becomes. Everything is off balance, and my headache is turning into a piercing pain that's shooting lightning into my jaw. What if the answers reveal something I'm not ready to face? Axel puts a hand on my knee and asks, "Hey, are you okay?" He stares at me with wide eyes, noticing that I'm clearly breathing heavily and starting to sweat. I look up at him, and I can see the worry on his face. How much time has passed? Did I say anything out loud? Are my thoughts so loud that they can hear me? Do they know my secret? No way. Fuck. That's enough for today's class. My head snaps over to the professor who speaks. I hold high expectations, and today you have all fallen short. I trust that you will not let me down again I don't feel like this was needed. Professor Blackwell didn't have to do that. I'm just going to mark it because I'm picky. Yeah, I just feel like it would read better. My head snaps over to the professor who speaks. Professor Blackwell dismisses us, and I catch her giving me an incredulous look. If you want to read more about it, you can get the book. Sorry, not sorry. Did I black out, or did time just speed up? Because I could have sworn we had another hour of class. Dazed and confused, I fumble my things into my bag. Someone is speaking, but the pounding in my head is too loud for me to hear anything through the pain. Worry and panic consume me. I must have said something to make Axel look at me with such concern. He's trying to say something, but I can't make out his words. His voice is muffled and nothing is clear. I scan the room, searching for any signs that others have noticed my distress. My eyes dart frantically across the class. Right, left, right, left. I feel manic and nearly overwhelmed by paranoia. Come on, girlfriend, you can read this. You can do it. I got a master's degree. Right, left, right, left. I feel manic and nearly overwhelmed by paranoia. I lock eyes with just one person, Michael. Pain sears through my forehead, and I lean on the chair for support as I push myself up and out. I need to get out of here. Quickly, I rush out of the building and into the pouring rain, fighting for each breath. It feels as though an invisible weight bears down on my chest. I force air into my lungs to try and calm myself, but all that comes up are short and raspy breaths that burn. My vision starts to redden, and my breathing becomes heavier. I bend over, trying to calm myself. I try to focus on my heartbeats. I try to focus on my heartbeat. Your heartbeat. Meh. What song is that? I can feel your heartbeat. Ooh, no, I think it's literally called Heartbeat. Cue it on the video. But it feels like my heart is about to explode out of me, and I can't control the red and black that's creeping over my eyesight. The pain and weight of it all is unbearable. What if someone finds out? Pressure starts to build in my head and chest, and I have no idea what to do. Have the consequences to my actions caught up to me? My heart is about to burst out. It's beating so hard. What if I don't have a soul and I'm the only one who would drift into nothingness? Nothing. Fuck. I can't fucking breathe. Breathe. I whip my head to the fountain at my family's idol. She stands there solemnly as the rain bounces off her hood. I take a shattering step toward her, but I almost keel over as the pain crashes into me. No, I need to feed. I need blood. Now. I grasp onto the last tendril of strength I have and move my legs toward my dorm, determined to get a bag of AB to calm myself down. Rain pours down my face, leaving me absolutely sodden after only a few seconds outside. The red and black further creep over my vision, and I'm on the verge of complete panic. My mouth is clamming up, and my fangs are pounding against my gums. Running to my dorm, I faintly hear Axel yell my name, but I'm already sprinting away. Water rushes past me, pelting my face. What is going on with me? The pain in my chest is debilitating, but I push through. I can't risk being taken to a clinic and having my blood tested. What if they find? A wave of nausea from the headache slams into me as I crash into my front door. I'm fumbling with my keys, trying to get on the last open of my door. I feel like that's repetitive. It should just read, I'm fumbling with my keys, and I drop them into a heap on the floor in my panic. Yeah. I'm fumbling with my keys, and I drop them in a heap on the floor in my panic and pain. My fingers are soaked. Water drips from my hair that clings to my body. The damn keys are too slippery. The bystander looks my way and asks if I need help, but I snarl at her like a wounded animal. She yelps and runs away. Finally finding the keys, I grab it and unlock the door. Busting it open, I run straight to the bioworm, yank it open, and grab a bag of AB. I bite into the bag, desperately sucking down the blood my body is screaming for. With each pull, a guttural noise escapes me. I make sure not to drop any of the precious blood. It's all mine. My hands crinkle the blood bag, squeezing the beautiful flow of blood into my mouth. I need more. You could, if you're interested, you could just, all artwork done by me. And, ooh, let's drop this bundle. Oh my, crazy, crazy, crazy. I know. Slumping down to my knees, I grab 2 more blood bags to continue the insatiable hunger. Blood streams down my cheeks and neck, becoming more feral and animalistic. As the blood washes over me, coating my face and dripping down my chin, the pain slows. After the 5th bag, the pain is only an annoyance. After 10 bags of blood, I feel my nerves calm. That's a lot of blood. My mile-a-minute heartbeat slows, my breath becomes more even, and the darkness that encumbered my eyesight starts to clear. As I pull blood from the bag, I look over at my reflection in the oven. My eyes are black. Wait, what? Terrified, I look away and continue to suck down the next bag of blood, insatiated. It isn't enough. This should be italicized. Italicized. All right, we got a little omega symbol. I'm sucking down my 30th bag of blood when I hear Arabella. That's a crazy amount. When I hear Arabella's feet hit the floor from her bedroom. She just woke up, which means I've been sitting here on the kitchen floor for about 10 hours. Her day has just started, and I'm slumped over on the floor, sucking the last few drops of blood at 8 p.m. Gabs? She calls out as she yawns. How was your day? How was... She stops mid-sentence as she finds me against the fireworm with blood bags surrounding me. I'm not intoxicated yet. Blood has crusted over my chin and neck. Stains coat my uniform. Drops of blood circle me from the mess I created in my feral state. Her jaw drops, and she gawks at me as I continue to suck the last bag that was stocked. I was hungry, I say, looking up at her with wide, innocent eyes, trying to downplay the fact that I've just consumed a significant number of blood bags. Okay. She drags out her words, and I feel her eyes on me, judging. God, she sees right through me. She's going to find out. What if she already knows? She steps carefully around the drops of blood and the scattered bags, her face contorted with disgust. Her voice is lined with worry as she says, listen, if you needed a feeding, you could have just asked me. Holy shit, she knows. Her eyes glance around the room, taking in the chaotic scene. I know someone who's always on call. He could have come over and fed you himself. Well, maybe. Given the amount, we would have needed a few more people, but that's beside the point. You should have called or said something. Look at the mess you've made. She opens the bioworm and her frustration peaks. And now we're completely out of stock. Just great. She slams the warmer's door shut. Wait, she doesn't now? She starts by discussing the challenges of keeping herself fed, focusing on the newfound struggle of being a vampire with these intense urges. Emphasizing the importance of taking better care of myself, she reminds me of how crucial it is, especially with our family's reputation and the university's name on the line. You're right, I state, but she goes on to lecture, ignoring me. Arabella increases her voice louder as she kicks the empty blood bags around. And I'm not cleaning this up. I cut her off. Okay, I know you're right. I then pick myself up off the floor. Right. Yeah. She squints her eyes and shakes her head. I'm sorry, it won't happen again. I force a soft chuckle to try to ease her discomfort, but she just continues to walk around the room with her hands on her forehead, mumbling to herself. What is this delicious smell? Is it the blood bags all over the floor? I need to clean it up. What's that faint pumping noise and sweet? My mouth salivates and my throat begins to burn. That's not what it says. My mouth salivates and my throat burns again. Oh no. Fuck! Oh no. This cannot be happening. Is that what this whole episode was about? My throat tightens as she gets closer. I back away and cover my mouth. My voice is muffled by the pressure of my hand. I'll catch up with you later. I don't feel very well. I think I might just go to my room to relax and recover from today. Please tell the professors that I won't be in class if he asks. I'm sorry. Please tell the professor that I won't be in class. Oh my gosh, professors, bro? Please tell the professor. You dumb fucking bitch. Do you know how many times I edited this? Okay, will do. And take a shower too. You stink. She retorts quickly with a scrunch of her nose, heading back to her room. I force a laugh and agree to her command. Yeah, I'll get to that now. Thanks. I'll see you tomorrow. She leaves and I quickly head to my room, almost slamming my door and slamming myself up against it. I crumble to the ground and hold my breath for the smell to leave my nostrils. Using all my strength, I pull my legs into my chest and stare at the back mirrored wall. My room is simple and clean, furnished with only a bed, side table, lamp, desk, and chair. My cream bed linens are from my cousins in Egypt, and the large fluffy white wool blanket, a shallow gift from my father, is from the Scandinavian mountains. My furniture is light, opposite of what I wear. I've always liked white stained wood accents on furniture. They add a soft, peaceful touch. A large mirror lines the right side of my room, crusted with rust in random patterns that create beautiful lines and cracks, giving it an ancient, homely feel. Breathe. You are safe, and everyone else is safe from you. You should be italicized. Italicized. Boozy chocolate, anyone? Let's get rid of the gin. Cheers. I push off the creamy soft carpet and stand for a moment before heading to my desk. Opening the right drawer, I pop the compartment hidden beneath my literature textbook. I pull out its contents and arrange my notebook, a map, and the cell phone on the desk, illuminated by the soft glow of a small light. Leaning over, I focus on the information, trying to piece it all together. My notebook is filled with ramblings and thoughts as I try to solve the entire equation of insanity and impurity. Within my words lies the answer to what this network is, so I search for it and begin following the notes that led me on my last mission. So far, all I can discern is that it's a group of vampires trading in blood and bodies all across Europe. They are corrupt, vile beings operating outside the law, catering to the darkest desires of their clientele, whoever their clientele actually are, or even who the sellers are. Fuck, whoever runs the actual shit show. But they have dealers, they have information, and I know that someone along the way will give me enough to finally do something about this. The most ludicrous part is that there seems to be no one fighting them, no one there to take them to their elders or the sovereign. The information, videos, and photos are all there on the dark web. So why isn't anyone else doing anything about it? Do the sovereign really not know this exists? I remember the first time I came across one of their bidding videos. Arabella and I were doing our very first deep dive in the dark web for both of our 18th birthdays. We had a sleepover to celebrate, complete with matching pajamas and all. She had yet to become a vampire, making it kind of like our last hurrah since she won't be able to eat human food as a vampire. Luckily, alcohol will still be on the menu. Snacks were laid out around the sleeping bags on my bedroom floor. She held a Diet Coke and I a bag of blood. We scrolled through radical information on aliens, government cover-ups, and the extravagant sex parties held by billionaires in their mansions. We laughed and searched for hours, staying up until 3 in the morning, and then we scrolled upon that video. This should be italicized. I'm taking small sips today. Last time I was hoisted. I threw up a whole feeding. The stain still hides under a rug in my childhood bedroom. Arabella cried for hours. It was too horrendous for anyone to see, let alone experience. I can't even imagine what was going through that poor child's mind. She couldn't have been any older than 8. It's been 1 year since I saw that video. 1 year since I have secretly been hunting down these pigs to take down their blood system, and a year since I started to use them for other measures. Pushing the hard memory away, I open the stolen burner cell phone and start to rummage through the data. The phone has provided little to no answers. However, the phone has received over a dozen text messages and phone calls. Dumbass didn't even code his phone. He was cute though. However, didn't seem to know much. I'm not even sure he actually knew what his bosses were selling. Or do I just tell myself that because I fucked him? Whatever. I like that. Dark romance, morally gray. I open his messages and scroll through them. Each text is more cryptic than the last, and the cell numbers are clearly untraceable. In the year that I've been studying these groups, I've discovered that their terms are coded. Obviously, because what in the world does Icy Bevy mean? A cool new frat from Starbucks? I don't think so. I flip the page and write my findings, ready to tackle a year's worth of gathered information. The more cryptic messages I uncover, the more I can piece together to find my next target, something I'll need sooner rather than later. I rub up my throat, where a burning sensation lingers before gradually fading. I take a closer look at the 9/7 text. Luckily for me, it's this weekend. I just need to hold off until then. How I'll be patient is beyond me, but I'll need to be strong. And that is where we are going to stop. Chapter 4 is the breaking point. The moment where denial is no longer an option. What looks like a panic attack isn't just panic. What looks like hunger isn't normal hunger. And what Gabrielle is hiding, it's getting harder to keep buried. In chapter 5, consequences arrive. Questions turn into investigations. And the lines between predator and protector begin to blur. If you thought this chapter was intense with information, chapter 5 is where her truth starts to stalk her back. And nothing at Nexus Crest happens without a cost. Make sure you subscribe because the next episode is dropping soon. I'll see you in chapter 5. I mean, honestly, I really love this chapter. I just want to like kind of talk a little bit, you know? I love philosophical thoughts. And I think the discussion in here, it could have been so much longer, so much more intense. I feel like I cut out so much, and I still could probably cut out a whole bunch as a writer. And I mean, even as a reader, I can tell like, oh, I could definitely cut out a whole bunch. I could definitely cut out a whole bunch. Oh, this is a navy rum. So far, I'm pretty happy. I mean, obviously, I feel like I could be a better writer. But that's just because I'm overly obsessive and I want to be a perfectionist. I'm the eldest daughter of an angry father and an emotionally dependent mother. I need to be perfect. Ooh, Scotch whiskey. I feel like I'm really gonna like this. Look at that. Yeah, I really want to get to chapter 10. And happy holidays, by the way, again. Oh, and I made this like new little cute sticker. I'm really excited to do Arabella. I have to finish that. Sorry if I didn't. Well, yeah, I think that's the end of the video because I'm starting to become intoxicated. I've had 5 boozy little chocolates. And that's a wrap. Have a great night, everyone. So this is a post discussion for chapter 4. I already read it with you. And now I want to slow down and unpack it because there's a lot happening, even if it's not obvious. Basically, this is an open conversation between you and me. This chapter is where things start to fracture for Gabrielle. Up until this point, we've seen hints. There's moments like this chapter where things start to feel off. But here it's no longer undeniable. These episodes that she's having aren't random. They're not just headache. They're not just stress. They're her mind and body reacting to something that doesn't have language yet in the book. I want this chapter to feel disorienting, obviously. It's just wrong enough that you start to question what is actually happening here. Because timing matters. And chapter 4 is where the book is starting to answer some questions without actually answering them. So here's what I really want to know from you. Why do you think she's actually having these episodes? What do you think is triggering them? And by the end of chapter 4, be honest, do you think there's a clearer image or is it still disorienting? I read every comment, so please comment, question down below. I don't correct any theories, but I do like watching them evolve. One thing I'll say without spoiling anything is that chapter 4 is a hinge moment. Once you pass it, the story can't go back to being simple. We're not just in a vampire university having fun. Everything after this is affected by what's introduced here, even if you don't consciously clock it. If this chapter made you uneasy, confused, or suspicious, good. It means it's doing its job. Now, I want to talk about something a little bit more personal. I've decided to take a step back from Read With Me, the author's cut, at least for now. And I really want to be transparent why. As much as I love doing these videos, I genuinely do. They take up a lot of time and energy. Filming, editing, posting, dreaming about it, and then posting it all on my socials, across all the socials. It adds up faster than you realize. And I've noticed the more that I push myself to keep up with everything, the faster I've been burning out. And I'm becoming a lot less focused on what actually matters right now, which is writing book 2. My main focus on going into 2026 is writing the second book, making it the strongest, the darkest, the most intentional continuation of the storyline, of Gabrielle's storyline. It requires deep thought, focus, determination, long stretches of writing, and honestly, less pressure from getting out the series Read With Me. I think most of you, especially the readers, will care more about that. I think you'll rather have book 2 out than me doing more videos of book 1. I will continue the series just not right now. I don't have a date, I don't have a schedule, and I don't want to promise anything. When I come back to them, I want them to be thoughtful, intentional, and not rushed. So for now, I'm choosing to refocus all of my attention on book 2. Thank you for being here, for reading with me, for thinking deeply about the book, and for caring enough to ask questions. Drop your thoughts about chapter 4 down in the comments. I really want to hear your theories. And I'll see you soon. Just a little quieter, a little deeper, and very much inside